First of all, welcome you all to 100 Days of Coding Java. I'm Ganesh. I will be the host for this session, and I will be teaching the basics of Java for 3 sessions from now. At first, if you want to learn Java, means there's a first question you will raise: Why Java? We need to learn, right? Because Java is a really simple language and it's object oriented. If it's object oriented means we can split any problem into many subdivisions and solve it. For that, the object oriented concept is very useful. Java is reliable, robust, and secure. That means Java is a very strong language and secure. And Java's motto is there that stands for write once and run anywhere. And as it states, it has a huge portability. You can write once and you can run into any platform, and it gives the high performance. And before getting into the actual language, we need to learn some history of Java. Java was developed in 1991 for network devices and embedded systems, for to develop the software for those. And its beta version was released in 1995. And this Java is a part of Green project, the Green project. And the main lead of the team is James Gosling. He is one of the lead developer who developed Java. He received many awards. And I think it's a bit enough in history. Let's get started. Before we want to learn Java, we need to install Java. For that, we need to install JDK. JDK stands for Java Development Kit. You can just search for JDK and you'll get an Oracle website. They are officially owning the website for now, officially owning the Java for now. And Java, after the installation of Java, we have some procedures to do. I mean, you can install this Java for Windows version and any version as you request, as you required. After installation of Java, we need to do one thing. It's called something called environmental variable. Java files, everything are located in a particular location, but system cannot access the Java. So we need to give the permission. So we need to declare the path of Java as an environmental variable so that any application can access Java. For that, we can simply search for environmental variables. And here you can add a new path for that. And once you add your Java path here, your Java path will be accessible for every application user. I think you people, everyone understood how to install Java, and we can get into the actual code. Before going to the code, we need to know how any language basically works. Java is a statically typed language. That means it requires a compiler to compile the code and to convert that source code into a machine readable code. So let me demonstrate a simple code using Notepad. And for now, I will write some things, but you cannot understand for now because I will explain them in real soon. Yes. Every Java file should contain a class, and that class should contain a method called main.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ganesh, can I know that
Yeah.
is that important to download the compiler or we can use code blocks also?
Actually, we need to download the compiler because for entry level, you can use those online compilers. If you want to get into advanced stuff, you need SDK.
Yeah, for today's session, is it important to download the compiler or they can go with a notepad?
Once we teach the working method of the compiler, that will be useful to understand how Java works.
Okay, so guys, if you are not having the compiler in download, don't worry. Just listen to him what he was saying, okay? So that after you will be having recording, right? There you can execute in your systems. Right now, listen to him and get your doubts clarified at the end of the session.
Okay. Whenever we need write the code, our file should be saved as same name as our class name. In here, our class name is hello. So our file name should be saved as hello. So let's save this file. And it should be saved with the extension of Java. Once our file is saved, you can see here it's visibling as a Java code. To run this code, we need command prompt. After getting into the command prompt, we need to get to the directory where our file is located. So cd command stands for change directory. So we need to get into that particular location. I saved it in desktop, so I'm navigating to the desktop. After getting to the desktop, there is a particular command called Java C. Java C stands for Java compiler, and this command will get our code and compile it. If there is any error, it shows our error. Else, it converts our source code into machine code as a class file, and that class file is executed by Java virtual machine, and our code is executed. You got it? Now our file is compiled. There is no error. When we run this file through Java command, we get our hello world. Basically, you don't need to do all these things, but you need to understand our file is compiled through Java compiler and it's executed by JVM. We can use any modern IDEs that can do everything automatically. Just we did this thing to understand how the Java works. And basically, I wrote some template, right? Public class, hello, public static void main. These are called boilerplates. I mean, these things are repeated in every code and every program you write in Java. And we will be discussing the topics of classes and functions in later. But you need to know whenever you want to write the code, you should be writing in this manner. And if whatever will line write in the main method is executed every time. We have explained the boilerplate code, that thing, that class and the public static void main, and that should be written in every program. And whatever we write in the main method is executed every time in the program. And let's come to the comments. Whenever we write a comment in a code that is ignored by the compiler, that we wrote command to write to we write we we write commands to other programmers who can study our program and get to know what's happening inside, or we can put it as our personal notes. But however, when we write this command, it is ignored by the compiler. And any language should work on data, right? So Python is also tended to Java is also tended to work on data, but there are some data types in Java so that it can work. There are two types of data types in Java: primitive and non-primitive. Primitive have nothing special. They can store particular values in a memory location, but non-primitive have some special methods and some additional things. It can store multiple values in the same location. I mean, a single variable, if we consider a single variable, it has multiple memory locations and it's stored. It basically non-primitive data types are used as collective data types. And this is the hierarchy table of data types in Java. Basically, our Boolean, char, byte, string, int, long, float, double, this everything comes under primitive data type. It doesn't have any special any special functions, but they are used to store values. And in other side, non-primitive data types, we have string array, and etc. And they have some special functionalities built in them, and they can store multiple values in a single variable. And let's get in this session, we will be using VS Code for coding in Java.
So Ganesh, some of the people are requesting to tell you slowly, okay? You are a little bit fast. Keep it clear and slow, okay?
Okay, where should I begin it from again?
No need, you can continue, but complete it as very slow, okay?
Yeah,
You can continue, yeah.
yeah, okay. And every data types, let's analyze every data types. There is a Boolean value. Boolean value stands for true and false. You can store true, else false. They occupy 1 bit in the RAM. The Boolean values can only have true and false. And last that, we have many data types, but we mostly use integer, float, Boolean, char, and string. And these byte, long, short, double, long, everything are used to store integers only, but they store everything in a different manner. For example, when we take byte, short, and int, they everything store integer values, but in different methods. As we can see, byte can store -28 to 127, where short can store from -32,000 to +22,000, and every this every every data type have their individual range to store. And coming to the float can store point values. This float can store point values up to 7, and decimal can store point values up to 16. These all are the basic data types. Now we have data types, but we need something to store, right? We have data, but we need to store in something so that we can use the data in future. So we coming into the concept called variables. Variables are something like containers which can hold values in Java program. There are three types of variables in Java: local, instance, and static. At first, we can look at how data work, how variables work. And now, whenever I want to create a variable, I want to declare its data type. Now, I want to create a integer. I want to store an integer in a variable so that I am declaring it as an integer int, and I'm giving the name as a, and I'm storing some value 12. After I did this, I want to execute, right? Now we can write that print statement that when I call this a in this inside this print statement, the 12 value is printed. As you can see here. Like this, we can store every data types in a variable, and we can use whenever we want in the program. As I said, there are three types of variable: local, instance, and static. For an instance, let's take this example. I'm declared a variable inside this main function. We can call it as a local variable because whenever I call this a variable inside this function, it is visible and it can be executed. Whenever I try to call this a variable from outside of this main function, I will get rise an error because it has a local scope only. So it is only visible to the main function. After that, we have instance and static. To understand instance and static, we need to have some knowledge in class and objects, but we will be handling that in later. But for now, I will say that instance, whenever you create a variable outside of the methods, but inside the class, it is stored as an instant. Whenever the class have an, whenever we create an object through that class, for every class, that instance are newly generated. When you take static, for every class, that variable is common. What I'm saying class is something like a blueprint of an object. Whatever you define a structure in class, when you create an object for class, that object has every structure that you defined in class. It's like a blueprint of an object. This is the syntax for creating a variable. First, we need to declare its data type, its variable name, then the value of the variable. But for creating variable name, we have certain rules. We call that as identifier rules. In every language, we have called something called identifier because we need to name something and we need to use it again and again and again. You can take an example as a variable, function, class, anything. But for anything, we need to give a name, right? That we can say as the identifier. In Java, we can create identifiers from A to Z. You can use capital A to small, capital A to capital Z, and lowercase a to lowercase z, 0 to 9, and dollar and underscores are allowed. Except these things, nothing is allowed in Java to create an identifier. We cannot begin an identifier with beginning with an integer, and Java is case sensitive. Once we create a variable something like a, now I'm declaring this as capital A. When I try to run this, Java will raise an error because this is case sensitive and it says that there is no such variable called this A. So that this treats both uppercase and lowercase as a different variables. And these identifiers can have only length of 4 to 15 letters. That limitation Java does have. And we cannot use any reserved keywords as an identifier. For example, we are using public, class. Those things cannot be used as identifiers. Now let's get into input and output statements. And as we mentioned earlier, this system.out.println stands for this statement is used for the output. This ln stands for new line. Whenever you try to print another thing, that is printed in a new line. This has another function. This out method has another function called print. When you use this print, it doesn't go for new line, but instead of that, it prints everything in the same line. Yeah, now as you can see, these both statements are printed in the same line. So because I'm using print statements, these all are used as the output. And when we come to the input, Java doesn't have any simple functions to call input. So we need to import a package to get inputs from the user. So that package is located in Java utils. To import that particular package, we need to use a keyword called import to import that particular package. This particular scanner object have every methods to get input from the user. So we want to use some particular inputs. For example, I will create a program to get the username and print it. To, to get the input, first we want to create instance for the class object, for the class, for the scanner class. So I'm declaring it as a And this is a particular syntax to create an object. This will be covered later. And in this, we need to pass a certain parameter called a system. From this system, we can get the inline of the terminal. Through that, we can get the user input from the user. Dot. And now we want to get the input and store it in a string, store it in a variable. To create a to store a string, we need to create a variable that can able to store string. I'm creating this variable as name, and in this line, I want to call a particular function called next particular method called the next line from the input object. And this object is this method is used to get input from the user. And when we run this code, the compiler stops in the control flow stops in a particular place. When we give the input, then the control flow begins. What I'm doing is a string concatenation. We will cover that thing in later topics. But this thing will print your name as along with the prefix as hello. Let's try to run this program. Is as you can see, when I entered a particular name, it added a prefix called hello plus that particular name. And this is how the input we can get from the Java. And whenever we create this object, we need to close this particular object. So at the end statement, we will close this object. We'll call the close method of that object. But this is not a compulsory, this is just an optional. I hope you all understood what is a class and object and how we get input and output in Java. And what are data types and variables. Till this, anyone have some doubts? Or
Yeah, those who are having doubts, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you.
is anyone?
Yeah, Ganesh, you can continue. They are not talking.
Yeah. Yeah. As we go for the next topic, we have typecasting. And as you said, Java has plenty of data types. But when we try to combine those data types, this Java behaves something different. For an instance, let's try in this particular program, we can able to see when we add two integers and store that in integer, this won't raise an error. But when you try to do that with a float, this will raise an error for sure because Java cannot mix two type of variables and perform an operation.
Could you please explain once again how to create a variable?
Yeah, sure. First, whenever you want to create a variable, you need to declare its data type because a variable can hold any values, right? So we need to specify what type of data type you want to store in that variable. For an instance, let's take integer int, and you need to use that identifier rules and give a name to your variable. You can give any name which follows that rule, and after that you need to specify your value using that equal to symbol. For instance, we can take 45, and we need to end that statement with semicolon. By writing the statement, you are storing value 45 in a variable a, and this is how we create a variable. That that was okay. You got how the variables are created.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's back to typecasting. Java has some particular precedence where it will try to convert automatically. When you try to convert a long to float, but it automatically done by Java. But when you do that in quiet reverse, Java cannot handle that. So these two castings, we say a different name. Casting means converting a particular data type to another data type. This winding casting is done automatically by Java. This narrow casting is manually done by us. And let's see how these two work. So I have a variable here named A, and then I will create another variable. For this, I will create a float. Float B is equal to 24.67. Whenever you create a float, you need to put you need to put F at the end so that the Java can understand it's a float. And now let's try to add those things. And I will try to add them in and store them in a integer variable. And when you try to run this, you will show for sure you will raise an error. Yeah, as I said, it shows an error. So how can we convert this manually? To that, there is a to do that there is a particular syntax, and for a, I will take this b as an integer here, and I have a float value in the right hand side. To convert this float value into integer value by externally, you need to put this parenthesis and mention particular data type int. When you do this, this float value in the right hand side is converted into integer and stored in b. And when you try to run this will execute without an error.
We can't see your presentation.
Yeah, I was writing code. Is it visible or not?
No, sir, we can't visible.
Just a minute. Um, I mean, is it now visible? I mean, this program won't show any output, but it runs without any error, right? Because we are
Yeah.
not printing anything. Yeah, this is how wind casting and narrow casting is done in Java. Okay, type promotion in Java. When you try to use multiple data types in a single expression, Java automatically try to convert those and give try to evaluate those values. For example, let's see an example. But that should follow the. But when you try to do that uh, type promotion, it should follow the wind casting rule, that hierarchy, and it should be in this order. If it is in this particular order, it can convert automatically, else it will show an error. After that, we have operators. Now we learned we have many data types. Now we can store them in particular variables. Now we want to perform some operations on those data types. On that case, we'll be using these operators. Here it's mentioned six type of operators. We will be seeing everything. But this assignment operator we already seen. That is nothing but the equal to sign used to assign variable values to the variables. And coming to the arithmetic operator, and these are the basic arithmetic operations that we perform in mathematics that you can also perform in Java. You can perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, as well as modulus. As you can see, the Java can perform all these operations and shows us the result. Yeah, then we have a increment and decrement operators, which is used to increase and decrease particular values from a variable without a second operand. Now in this variable, let's take a variable a. It has the value of 45. Then now when I try to print this, here it will be 45, and when it comes to here, it will become a 46 because this operand increases the variable value by 1. As you can see, the first value is 45 and second value is 46. And increment operator just does the quite opposite. It decreases the variable value by 1. I think arithmetic operator is clear. Let's move to the assignment operators. As I said, equal to is not the only assignment operator. We have multiple assignment operators. When I use a plus equal, when I use a symbol before the equal to, that operation is performed on that particular variable with the right hand operand. When I want to increase the value 5 in a variable a, it has already value of 45. When I try to increase by 5, it will become 50. And when I try to print this, I'll get a value of 50. As you can see, I'm getting value 50. After that, we have comparison operator. During programming, you need to compare some things, and you will get a Boolean value when you use these comparison operators. For instance, now I will compare this A and B. I'm declaring that A is greater than B, but A value is smaller than B, right? Then it will give a Boolean value called false. Like this, you can use.
Sir, again your presentation is stuck.
It's not visible, huh? Is it visible now, or Okay, let's continue. And as we're talking about comparison operators, it is used to compare two values and return a Boolean value true or false. This can be. Is not equal. And these all things compare left hand operand and right hand operand. And if the condition is true, returns true. If the condition fails, it gives false. As you can see, the results here. And moving on to logical operators, oh, as moving to logical operators works on and or not. Let's try to print a thing true and I mean, we have studied some basic logic gates in our intermediate, right? And this thing replicate the same thing and stands for the same and you studied in physics, where when the both conditions are true, the output is true, and rest of the all conditions, the output will be false. When I try to put this false, and I'll get the result as false. As you can see. And this symbol stands for AND operator. This stands for OR operator. When I perform a OR operation on true and true or false, then I will get true. And we have a NOT operator at final, which works on a single operand. When I put true, it gives false. Yeah. And moving on to next operator, we have bitwise operator. I mean, what these bitwise operators do. Let's consider two decimal values, 10 and 5. What it does is it
Yeah, it's okay, Ganesh. Can we stop it here for today and we can start from tomorrow? So that we can continue tomorrow again. Let's have Q&A session and we can leave now.
yeah, okay. Yeah, if any one of you have any doubts within the topics we have seen, you can ask.
So guys, it's now time to ask you a questions and he will answer you everything. And also, while this was happening, I request every one of you to just message regarding today's session in your group. Okay. Just need quick responses from your side regarding the session in your WhatsApp groups right now so that I can check and I will reply to you. Just type in your WhatsApp groups what you are feeling and what we want to improve or anything so that we can know. Okay. Meanwhile, who are having doubts, they can raise your hand so that our members will unmute you so that you can ask your doubts and get clarified. Need all your responses in your WhatsApp groups regarding today's session. Yeah, I request Pranati or Srinivas to just unmute who will raise their hands, okay? Just take care of it.
Hello, can
So
you
as
just
you all are
explain that
reacting here,
public
I
static
just
void
want your
thing with this
reactions in your group, okay? Not your reactions in the meet. Just send me the messages what you want to know, or else if you want to give any feedback today regarding today's session, you can just message in the WhatsApp group so that I can know about that. Yeah, now you can speak out, guys, if you are having any doubts. I will allow you mics.
Can you explain that public static void thing that was written in every
Yes.
code?
Okay, I will explain it now. I mean, you need to have some concept of class and object that we will be covering in later sessions, but I will say it for now. But when you declare any variable inside a main function, it is only visible to the main function. So it is called as a local variable. Whenever you would try to call that particular variable outside of that function, it will raise an error. Okay, this thing local variable is clear, right?
Yes, yes.
And let's get to the static and instance. See, this is a class. Whenever a class is there, we need to create an object that Java automatically does because this everything written inside the class is executed, right? So whenever you declare a particular variable outside of a function, but inside this particular class, it is treated as instance. When doesn't matter how many instances you create, for every single instance, the value will be generated newly. Okay, if you are running a program here, the value is 10 means when you run the program parallelly in somewhere, there also the value will be 10 itself. The value is generated newly. For when you take the static, when it will be declared the same outside only, but you use a static variable, static keyword before that int. So that when you declare static, whenever you create a new instance, you are opening running your application here and running your application somewhere. When you modify the value here, when you try to access from that application, there also the value will be modified. The value is same, but it is shared by all the objects. You got some idea?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Any other doubts?
To download the compiler test.
Yes. Wait a minute. Let me show you. Yeah. I mean, for the installation, you just go and search for JDK download. You'll
Sir,
get an
about
Oracle.
what is this meeting?
This is basics of Java. Huh?
Sir, I didn't get any message. I didn't know who had put the message also. What may I know what happened?
What?
Yeah, Lakshmi
I
Sri, are you
didn't,
there in any WhatsApp group?
ma'am, about which, ma'am?
About this 100 days of coding.
No.
Oh, then how you got the meeting link now?
It was shared in some other group, ma'am.
Yeah, it's okay, fine then.
Okay.
Yeah, someone was asking about installation of JDK. Yeah, when you go to you search for JDK download, you'll get an Oracle website where that Oracle company is now officially using Java. So you can go to their website, and when you go there, you can see the JDK, the 17 and 21 versions are currently available on that website. And you can download any version that based on the operating system you use. Mostly we use Windows, right? So when you go for Windows, you can see that the x64 installer use that particular version, but that will be easy for installation. After installation, you need to put your Java path to the environmental variable. As I said in at the beginning of the session, are you okay familiar with that, or I should explain that thing?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other doubts?
And also, Ganesh, once can you brief what are the topics that you are going to explain tomorrow to them? And they want to prepare anything before the meet.
Tomorrow's topics is gonna be if from if yeah, we still have to deal with some two operators, and after operators we'll be going for conditional statements. We'll be covering all type of conditional statements in tomorrow's session, and we'll try to cover half of the loop topics tomorrow, if possible.
Yes, sir. I actually am not invited to any groups. Actually, I sent a request of WhatsApp group today.
Okay. So when you have registered the form?
Yeah, the day that I got my mail.
Okay. Fine. You will be added soon. If you don't mind, can you share your details in the chat box if it is enabled for you? Is chat box enabled to you?
Not yet. Not enabled.
Do you have any of us contacts from code team?
Nope. Actually, my friend do. Can I message from her account, like her WhatsApp?
Yeah, just tell your friend to share your details to me so that I can add you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
So when we are opening the JDK downloads, there they are showing x64 compressed archive, x64 Debian package,
You should
x64
go for
RPM.
you should navigate to the Windows session. Right, Aisha?
Okay. There compressed archive or installer we have to download.
You need to download installer. That will be easy for you.
Okay. Thank
Could you explain that environmental settings?
Yeah, sure. I'll show of mine. Right. After installation of Java, it will be located in your C folder. I mean C local disk. Inside you have something Java here, right? And you need to navigate to this particular location. Bin. You saw on this path, right? And just copy your path and go for your environmental variables. When you type environmental variable in your search bar, you can get that edit system environmental variables. And here you can see environmental variables here. Go to there and click here on edit. Here you can see particular thing called path. Click that and give edit. Here the thing will open. Just go here and give new. You will get a text bar here. Paste your path and give OK. Your environmental path will be added.
Sir, can you just,
Okay, thank you.
if it is possible, can you just make a short video on this and send it in the group, sir? It will be helpful, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Any other doubts regarding
Excuse me,
Java?
ma'am. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yes. Any other doubts until operators we covered? For coming for tomorrow's session, just everyone make a revision up to operators. That's enough. If possible, try to see what are
Excuse me,
additional
sir.
questions. That's it. What?
Sir, can you please tell me why it is necessary to add that environmental variable?
Okay, I will explain it. And if when you are installed Java and it's located in a particular location, and you're trying to execute a Java program located somewhere in your computer, right? And that the compiler, the Java execution files, everything are located in that particular area. So when you try to run here, it will raise an error. So they will be not able to access that compiler thing, Java command, anything. So you cannot able to use that. So when you add to that environmental variable, that becomes as a public pathway so that any file from anywhere in your computer can access those files.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is there any specific book for Java, sir?
What?
Sir, is there any specific textbook for Java?
It will be shared in group. And if you want to, instead of going for books, you can refer for books. And as usual, parallel to the books, you need to code and get some practice. And you can use some practice websites. And you will be doing those challenges in those 100 days. So need to worry. You no need to worry. The materials will be shared in groups.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other doubts until operators we covered?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Can you tell about input dot close again? Like what is its use and why it
Okay.
is there? And
I
one
will.
more thing, like about typecasting. Like what was the
Okay.
second type of typecasting? I didn't understand that. Like one was widening
Okay.
automatic. It was about like converting, like it automatically converts, right? But I didn't
Yeah.
understand how. You took an example of float and then converted into int by putting some brackets. The
Yeah.
second one,
Okay.
so I think you didn't
I will.
talk about second one, like the second typecasting.
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
Yeah. That one I converted externally, right, with that bracket parenthesis int.
That was the second
Because
one.
yes, when you try to put a float in integer, that's in a reverse winding, right? You can check it. I will show you, right? See, as you can see here, a narrow casting, a float is here and integer is here. So I did that parenthesis int. So our float is converted externally by us as integer.
Actually, your screen is frozen now. I can't see.
Is it visible now?
Not yet.
Please check your connectivity on your side. I think my side I have everything perfect.
Are you showing the presentation slides now? Like I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah. Can you show that what you were saying?
yeah, I will show. Right. Is it visible now?
I can see that presentation typecasting in Java.
Yes. You want me to explain in the code, or you're asking me to show this thing?
In the code, actually.
Yeah, I will explain. I'll explain. Now, now I have an integer variable, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to create another integer variable b, but here I'm try to put float value 2.34, and we want to whenever you are creating a float, you should put f at the end. Okay. Now it is a float value. I'm trying to store a float value in integer, right? When I try to run this, this will raise an error. It cannot convert it. Yeah, as you can see, it shows an error, right? Then now what I am saying is externally saying convert this. I'm forcing Java to convert this. What? Yeah, I mean, now you can see that I'm externally converting this float value into integer and forcing to store that in B. Now it will convert that. Now I try to run, I won't get any error. You understood, huh?
So what will be the value of it? Like from 2.34, it will become 2.
Yes. Wait, I will print it. I'll print the value for you.
Like, is it rounding off or something else? Like,
It just negligates the decimal part. I think you are familiar with Python in college, right?
yeah, that's what I asked for. Like, okay, I understood.
Yeah. And just like a same procedure. As you can see now, it puts 5. That ignored the decimal part and takes 3 plus 2 as 5.
Okay. And what
Understood, huh?
about, like, this was
I have-
widening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm now converting externally. I'm forcing the float to become an integer externally. The Python, I mean, Java won't be able to do this automatically. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, could you send the invite link or something for the group? I don't have anything. Either the form or the group ID, I don't have anything.
Just a second. So in Q&A session, we'll be sharing you the registration link. If you have not yet registered, register through it and wait for tomorrow so that you'll receive all the invites. If you have already registered, just send me your details through WhatsApp, and WhatsApp details are shared in your Q&A session. I think you can enable it and check it there.
Ma'am, could you repeat where? I didn't get you.
If you have registered, it's okay. You just message your details to. Yeah, let me tell you. If you have not registered, I will share you the link of registration form in the Q&A session so that you can register over there.
Ma'am, for the same for every session, will the link be the same?
Once you get registered, you'll be getting all the updates regarding the session. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
I
Yeah.
was registered for the course, but I didn't get any WhatsApp link.
So I think you have given something like wrong email ID or something typo error. So you just go through the details that I have given you in the Q&A box. So just message to him. He will add you to the group. Okay. Just
And one more
post
thing,
your
ma'am.
details. Yeah. Tell me.
The registration form, from where will I get the registration form?
Yeah, I will post in the Q&A session. Wait for a few more minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Aditya or Ritisha, can you just post the registration link in the Q&A session?
And someone asked about that scanner, right? And I will be explaining that scanner shortly. As you studied Python, there will be using input function that is directly available in Python. So it is very easy to get input from the user. But in Java, it's not like that. We don't have such simple functionality, but it is there. In the particular package, in a particular class, they defined to get input from the user, but it's not directly accessible. So we are importing that particular package and creating an instance for that class. And where we are going to get the input means, and we are running this all the programs in terminal, right? So that every terminal thing is handled by the system object here in. So in this system, we are getting that inline. From the inline, we are getting the input. So understood this much. We are creating an instance for scanner. Now this object is ready to get any input from the user. To get the input from the user, for example, now I want to get integer from the user. I'll put integer C, and I will use this input object. In this, there are many methods. This next string you use to get a string. This next int is used to get integer. Further, to get every particular type, we have a particular method in this object. I'm using next int. Now, when we try to run this, the cursor is standing here, right? Now it's waiting for our input. When I give any input as a string, that is stored in that particular variable. Now we took the input from us. You understood till this, huh? Someone asked about this, right?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned something like Java is write once and run anywhere. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, Java is developed on a particular motor because on those times, 1995, before that, when we need to install everything in a particular system and you need to run our code. On those times, they cannot they cannot install everything in every system and run. So they wanted a solution. So they developed the Java as for that. Once you write a particular code in Java and compiled it, and as you get when you get the object code, I mean that class file, and you can take that file and run it on any system on any platform. I mean that whichever platform can support Java can run that. And this
Okay,
is
thank
stand
you.
for that portability.
Yeah, and in Python, we see that there's no need of writing all that string args and stuff. And why are we writing that in Java?
Yeah. I mean, Python is object oriented, but it's user friendly and it's just very easy, very simple syntax, right? But Java is not made for that purpose. It's completely object oriented and it's developed based on C and C++. Okay, so if any of you have studied that C++, if any previous intermediates, you can understand. You can see that the syntax are very similar. So on those languages, we will use a main function because the program can't execute directly. In Python, whatever you write, it executes sequentially, right? But whatever you write in the main function is executed first in these languages, like C++, where everything you will write inside the main function, and whatever written inside the main function is executed. As those languages, in Java uses a class. Whatever you code, right, you will be writing your code inside a class, okay? And in that class, we need a particular method called main method so that program can initiate. If you don't write anything in main method and you write everything everywhere, means nothing will run. You need whenever you create a function or something, you should call from the main function. So main function is the entryway to the program. The Java checks whatever in the main function and executes them accordingly. So Java main function is something like the entry point for Java. So Java compiler to run the program.
Okay, thank you.
Any other doubts?
So is it like instead of public that domain thing, we can write anything else also? Like there are some things
It's
to
not
write.
it's not like that. As I said, Java is completely object oriented. But for now, you consider this as a boilerplate template. I mean, you will be repeating this template to write code in Java every time. But once we get to object classes and object oriented thing, you will understand everything. Why we are writing this public static void, those things at all. For now, you just understand it's a boilerplate template. Whenever you want to write a Java code, you need to write this.
Okay. And can you show that your last slides like operators and after that what you said? Can you
I
show?
was just explaining operators. Still, I didn't complete operator. I will begin from operators from tomorrow. I will show my slide. Wait.
So meanwhile, I can say you something like, guys, so don't worry that you're not getting something or it's very fast or it's not, because it's just beginning and you don't want to be very fast, and also you are not going to learn from the very basic, because time is not that much sufficient to learn everything. So what I'm telling to you is like, just go through the basic foundation what he's letting to know, okay? So that you can know whatever the Java, what is Java and what we are going to do. So when you work on that, then you can know yourself and you can study on your own to learn everything from the perfect. That's the thing. But don't expect everything from the speaker to host everything from the very small basic thing. If you have any doubts, you can ask him. And also, if you got some doubts in your work, also you can ask me so that I can share his details and you can get contact to him and you can clear all your doubts. It's not a problem, okay? But don't worry and you don't become tense while, because like he's very fast and everything. Yeah, Ganesh, you can show your slide.
Yeah. Today we completed till bitwise operators. From tomorrow we will begin from unary operator and ternary operator like that. Whatever we covered today, it's a complete basic for any language. So for coming tomorrow's session, just study until operators as much as possible. If possible, study some conditional statements. I mean, I know you all are familiar with Python, right? And every language is similar to that. Just syntax differs. The logic are completely same. So you just try to understand how Java work and how the syntax differs from Python. Then you can easily get into Java. And from tomorrow's session, today's session was mostly theoretical. From tomorrow's session, we will be doing most of the coding part, and I will explain everything in very detail.
Can you show
Guys,
that bitwise operator? Like I didn't understand.
Okay, just a minute. Check all these things. Now I have a integer value 10 in a particular variable. Integer value b 5
Actually, your
in a
screen is
particular variable. Okay. Is it visible or not? Or should I increase my font size?
it's visible now. Like, are you
Wait.
writing?
Now it is visible, huh?
Have you written something because it's like blank?
Just wait a minute.
I think you have some network issue. It's clear for me, Ganesh. You can carry on.
Yeah. As I created two variables with in integer, I stored them in integer variables. Now, when I try to perform a bitwise operation on this, and this here it is stored in decimal number system, right? It is converted to binary system by Java, and the D is also converted into binary form. And for every bit, the AND operation is performed. So if I'm doing AND operation, means that AND operation is performed for every single bit. When you try to convert 10 into binary means you will get something as 1010, and when you try to convert this 5 means you will get 010. And when you try to when you do AND operation on those, that every single bit is undergoing the AND operation, and you will get a final binary value, right? That final binary value is again converted into decimal and stored in this. I mean, you understood, huh?
My
I,
screen,
it,
like for me, the screen was blank. I can see int c is equal to a
it,
and something. Like after that,
okay.
nothing is written.
I think you are very familiar with Python. I mean, you are something familiar with Python, right? There we performed bitwise operations. It is same operations we are performing here. The same process is going on. That decimal value is converted into binary, and those two operands decimal values are converted into binary, and these binary bits are undergoing under operation, and the final binary value is converted to decimal and stored.
So where is this bitwise taking place? Like, what is its role? Converting decimal to binary and binary to decimal. Is it like that?
I think we are in the very basic level for now. While we are try when you are in the day of 50 or 60, you will be doing lot of coding challenges. On those times, it will be a lot helpful. These operators. I mean, it has many applications, but we cannot explain in the very beginning session, right? For just now, it performs some bitwise operation in each bit in its binary form.
Is it like logical and something?
Yes, and are not logics, right? That
Yeah.
it is that those and are not those logics are those logics are applied on its binary form, and we are getting that final result. I mean, I should teach that the number system to explain this.
I'm familiar with the number system. Like you can
Yeah,
say,
you are familiar with the number system, right? That
yeah.
means, example, you there I am using two operands A and B. Those two have 10 and 5 as values, right? Convert those two values into binary. You will get some numbers, and when you perform AND operation on every single bit, you should not do overall. When you take a first digit in 5 binary, first digit in 10 binary, perform AND operation on that, you will get a 0 or 1, something like that, right? When you perform these AND operation in every single bit, you will get a particular binary value. That binary value is again converted into decimal and stored as a result. And this is what every bitwise operations are done. This is how every bitwise operations are done.
Yeah. Still, anybody have doubts here?
Like
Any
this
doubts
bitwise
regarding?
and was supposed to check whether something is true or false, right? But what
Yeah,
is
on those
and
conditions, you can use directly logical operators. No need of bitwise.
so over here, what and is doing? Like I didn't understand that part.
Okay, we are asking why we are using bitwise operators.
Yeah, like you wrote and over there. Why you wrote and over there? That's it.
Yes, because I want to perform AND operation in every single bit. I mean, when I'm performing and bitwise operation, I will use the AND symbol twice. When I'm performing logical operation, I use that one time, like that only.
Okay, like it's complicated, but
Okay. Okay. Still, if I feel it's very complicated, let some sessions go. Then on on learning all those things, you will get to know slowly how this bitwise operator particularly works. Okay. If you have
okay.
even more doubts in bitwise operators, I will try to explain in next session in very detail in some many applications.
Ma'am, in the Google form, it is asking batch and promo code. What should be given?
Yeah, if you can use promo code as online, and batch you can your what batch, which batch you belongs to?
Ma'am, I'm just registering now.
Like, what are you studying right now? First year or second year?
Second year starting.
Yeah, then you are from 22nd batch. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's okay, fine. So still any doubts for you guys?
One thing, like, is it possible only at the end of the meeting to ask doubts, or we can ask before? Like, my mic was not able at that time, so I couldn't ask doubts on the spot. Like,
Yeah, actually you can ask on the spot, but due to some disturbances, I have disabled all the mics for all the attendees. If I enable the mics, somebody is doing some disturbances. So it is
uh,
not the good way. So that's why I have disabled your mic. You
is
can
it
just
fine if I raise my hand and then you can able my mic, like, make it?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Actually, I tried it, but I was raising and like,
I think it's better
No
to
one.
just note it down and ask it in the end so that he won't disturb in the middle. And also somebody who will be having other works, they can leave after the session. So you can ask at the end.
Okay, any other
Okay.
doubts, still operators?
Yeah. So okay guys, I think you have no doubts. If you are having doubts, just DM us. And also I want to tell you that I am promising you from tomorrow you don't face any difficulties like you have faced today, and we will check all our network connections and everything. Sorry for today, and definitely we will improve for the tomorrow, okay? Yeah, sorry for everyone for the inconvenience. And also, yeah, that's it guys. Thank you and have a great sleep. See you all again tomorrow.